Good evening, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Rivalinsky,
Yes.
Boyer,
Yes.
Silvers,
Yes.
Hamas,
Yes.
Hallie.
Yes.
Thank you. Council, I'd like to add a report by Personnel Committee in our committee reports, just an update on our process for hiring a new city administrator. I know there's some significant things that are coming up in the next couple of weeks, so we just wanted to give the whole council an update on that. Any other changes to this evening's agenda? If not,
I'd like to make just one announcement.
Sure.
Concerning the waste treatment plant.
okay, so we'll put that on our committee reports as well. Then we'll move on to a consent agenda. We have approval of minutes from the March 26th meeting. We have a liquor license approval for Pizza Hut. We have claims in the amount of $224,685.85. We have a resolution for the hiring of a police officer, Tanner Lavely, and a resolution for the hiring of a police dispatch telecommunicator, Ann Webster. And we have a resolution for the hiring of Park and Rec for fitness instructors, Stephanie Giberson and Kaylee Clark. Are there any questions regarding those consent agenda items? Not entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Moved by Hamilton,
Second.
second by Silvers. Please call the roll.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Silvers,
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Rivalinsky,
Yes.
Hamas,
Yes.
Boyer,
I'd like to abstain on the minutes, but yes on everything else. Since I wasn't here.
Thank you very much. Now we'll move to our resolutions and action items. First, we'll start with a public hearing on the D Street paving. So this being a public hearing, I'd declare it open at this time and ask for any public comment. Seeing no public comment, we'll close the public hearing. Our engineers, is there anything to report regarding our project, Jerry?
The letting will be in Ames on April 17th, and we hope to have a report for you at your next council meeting so that we can approve that award.
Okay, thank you very much.
The lettings in Ames because of the federal aid money that's involved in the project, correct?
Yes, my estimated project cost is $502,947 for both Kirkwood and Deed, and 80% of that will be paid for through the federal grant.
Thank you.
Jerry, can you remind us where on D we're repaving?
D Street starts 120 feet south of Madison Avenue, Washington School, and goes
So the
north to
paving is
Burlington
just
Avenue.
the public
Right.
hearing, and then we're going to report on the bids. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Next, council, we move into a public hearing also on the paving of Kirkwood Avenue from 5th to 7th Street. This is also a public hearing. We'll declare that open at this time. Ask for any public comment. Seeing no one here to comment on that, we'll close the public hearing, and we'll move to the approval. Actually, let's see, we've got water main improvements under that. Is that what we're going to be approving in this? Okay.
Correct.
All
All
right.
right.
So we had the bid opening on that. We have a report. Jeff, do you want to go over those?
We're doing Kirkwood.
Kirkwood?
Okay, I should advise that there was a minor error in that the attachment for the water main bids that were opened the other day is actually attached to the Kirkwood paving. So you just completed the paving, and as Jerry mentioned, that bid letting will be on the 17th and on the next council agenda. So what I'm going to discuss with you now are the sealed bid openings we had the other day for the Kirkwood water main. Okay, is everybody comfortable with that? That was our mistake when we tagged it on the website. There were 3 bids for the Kirkwood water. This is the avenue between 5th and 7th. The low bid was Cross Iron Construction of Fairfield at $93,633.45. There were 2 other bids, K&N from Hamilton, Illinois at $110,932, and Henninger of Fort Madison at $119,311. So Jerry and his staff have reviewed the bids, and I believe are recommending award of the low bid to Cross Iron of Fairfield for $93,633.45.
Move to approve.
Moved by Hamilton.
Second.
Second by Hamas. I'll also mention, council, that this is well below the engineer's estimate, as you can see as well, of $123,280. Any other discussion?
Just want to make the point that this is all construction that needs to happen prior to the paving. That's why it's being let before the paving is being done. It'll be a new sewer line with new connections to the homes and businesses along through that area. So that's why this is separate from the actual street paving project.
Correct. Great, thank you, Darren. Any other discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Hammes,
Yes.
Boyer,
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Revelinsky,
Yes.
Silvers.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we'll move to a public hearing regarding the sanitary sewer improvements on South Main. And again, this is a public hearing. We'll declare that open at this time. Seeing no comment, we'll close the public hearing and ask for a report on the bid opening that took place. I think we have 4 bids for the sanitary sewer.
Yes. There are 4 bids. There was a bid tabulation attached. I'll start with the engineer's estimate was $199,630. Again, the project award or recommended award is well below the engineer's estimate. Low bid from K&N of Hamilton, Illinois of $149,691. Dresch was the second bid at $177,643,000. The third bidder was DeLong Construction of Washington, Iowa at $207,843. And the last bidder was Pilcher of Ottumwa with a bid of $293,525. So again, Jerry has reviewed the bids, recommendation to the low bid of K&N of Hamilton, Illinois at $149,691.
Thank you, Jeff. And you had mentioned too that this is a new company that is bidding our work, and that we've also checked on references.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. So, what is the wish of the council regarding the low bid from
Move to
K&N?
award the project to K&N Excavating of Hamilton, Illinois.
Moved by Hamilton, from Hamilton.
Second.
Couldn't resist.
Yeah.
Second from Boyer. Any other discussion? Please call the roll.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Boyer,
Yes.
Hammes,
Yes.
Revelinsky,
Yes.
Silvers.
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have a public hearing on also work that will be done on 2nd Street. These will also be sewer improvements. This is a public hearing. We'll declare that open at this time. Seeing no public comment, we'll close the public hearing and ask for a report on our bid tabulation. It was opened on April 4th.
Okay, again, engineer's estimate $122,890. The low bid was under that estimate again. Low bid from K&N Excavating, Hamilton, Illinois of $109,038. Dresch was the second bid at $116,525. The third bid from DeLong Construction of $130,621. And the last bid again from Pilcher of Ottumwa for $207,006. Recommendation of award to the low bidder of K&N of Hamilton, Illinois, $109,038.
Is there a motion to approve the bid by K&N?
Move approval.
Moved by Revelinsky, second by Hamilton. Any discussion? If not, please call the roll.
Revelinsky,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Silvers.
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Boyer,
Yes.
Hammes.
Yes.
Thank you. We do wish to thank all of the construction companies that did provide bids for the projects that we did approve tonight. We do appreciate their participation in the process, and congratulations to our bid winners. So next we will move to a report on our city audit, which has been completed. Jeff?
Yeah, there should have been a copy either in your box or in front of you. I think it was actually in your mailbox up front if you didn't get that already. We have received the completed audited financial report as well as the summation letter. No concerns beyond the typical checks and balances that they make recommendations on an annual basis. This was the first time to use a private sector company in recent history, and it did take a little longer to get it done the first time. We'll make sure, obviously, that they try to get it done a little quicker next time. But other than that, I think it all went pretty well. Their field work, they were in and out efficiently, and the finished product is what matters, and it looks good, and it's before you. So unless you have any questions or concern, we would certainly recommend at the staff level approval of the annual financial audit.
Move to approve the audit.
Second.
Moved by Hamilton, second by Hallie, to approve the 2011 City of Fairfield audit. Any discussion?
Well, just a question, and just for future reference, because it's very difficult for me to keep these on file from year to year, but is there an electronic version that would be available somewhere? We're not putting it on our site or anything?
The audit, I don't believe we have an electronic version. There might be pieces of it that we can get an electronic version.
That's all right. I just wondered if it's available. It would, just for future reference, rather than having to physically find this thing, which is doubtful.
Yeah, but that's actually a separate document that you're pointing to there. That's the budget, the annual budget,
Oh, okay.
which is kind of the same thing as true. There are versions, we have various pieces of it available electronically, but to put it together in a document like that, it kind of comes from several places. That's the audit.
We can ask
Right.
we can ask the company if they could provide it. That's
Sure.
a
Okay,
PDF that'd be easy enough to do.
If that's available, we'll go ahead and get it and put it on.
That'd be great,
the website.
thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Next, Council, will move to our ord. Pardon me? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, please call the roll.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Boyer,
Yes.
Hammes,
Yes.
Silvers,
Yes.
Revelinsky.
Yes.
I think that the staff reported a positive experience working with this team on the audit as well. I'm looking at
Sure.
Joy, who's been through many, and
Sure. I love
it's
them.
just never a pleasant experience for her. Okay, so next, Council will move to the second reading of our water rate increase. This is a public hearing. We'll open it at this time for any public comment on the proposed 2% increase on the water fees. Seeing no public comment, we'll close the public hearing. As council, if there's been any feedback or any discussion. Not, then I'd entertain a motion to approve the ordinance amendment for a rate increase from the second to the third reading.
So moved.
Moved by Silvers,
Second.
second by Hamilton. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Silvers,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Boyer,
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Revelinsky,
Yes.
Hammes.
Yes.
So, council, we have the second reading of our sewer user fee rates. Again, this is a public hearing. We'll declare it open at this time. Seeing no public comment, we'll close the public hearing. I ask if there's been any feedback on the sewer user fee rate increase. Not, entertain a motion to approve the amended ordinance from the second to the third reading.
So moved.
Moved by Hammes,
Second.
second by Hamilton. Any other discussion? Please call the roll.
Hammes,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Silvers,
Yes.
Revelinsky,
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Boyer,
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, next we'll have the first reading of an ordinance to provide a vendor permit license and regulations for special events, this being our first reading. Jeff, would you like to take an explanation of that, or maybe one of the committee members who've helped put this together?
Sure.
This came out of Property Committee, I assume?
I was in Ways and Means, I believe.
Ways and Means, okay.
It kind of started as part of, I think, our budget process and just evolved, once we got the budget process to a somewhat completed document. Anyway, there are two documents that were attached. One is actually the ordinance itself, and then there's a support document that are the regulations that we would use to guide that process to culminate with the actual vendor fee policy. And this really relates to the special events that happen in the downtown area surrounding Central Park, and provides through this ordinance, if you adopt this, the ability for those special event holders such as Art Walk or Kiwanis for the pancake breakfast or whomever is running the actual event to collect vendor fees, and we've established that rate within the ordinance from the various vendors that would set up to sell their wares or whatever at those events. And the idea behind that is that we then have control, and we have the vendor fee process set up, which currently doesn't exist to that level at the city structure. And then secondary, it can ultimately be a revenue stream back to the special event holder, because they'll be responsible to collect all that, assuming they're agreeable. If not, we'll contract with one of the other special event groups, and then the money would be funneled to the city and then back to the special event group themselves as one of the ways to assist with funding their event itself. So I think the documents there are fairly self-explanatory, unless there's specific questions. We just have established the guidelines, the rules, and the fees.
I have a couple questions that after just trying to let this soak in for a few days. Number one is sometimes we've had vendors set up in front, a couple blocks north in front of the Fairfield Arts and Convention Center. This still applies in that case?
The assumption with the written of it was that it would apply to anybody setting up for the special event.
Okay. And then I guess my next question is, I was trying to think of, specific people who might come forward to be a vendor under such as this. And when we're asking for, a specific sales tax number, all the things that we're requiring, I guess, for example, let me just throw out an example and say, is this how we want it to be? Like in the fall when Art Walk does kind of the harvest theme, and we have someone that wants to come with grown foods of some kind, but they don't really have a sales tax number, they're not really a business. I mean, can that person just come and be a vendor?
Yeah, I think, you can use a social security number in lieu of some type of an identification number. We just need identification. It's not so much from a tax perspective as it is from a safety perspective, if you will, to make sure that these are legitimate businesses. And of course, we're looking at the policy like we're attracting businesses from everywhere, not just Fairfield, so that we have a provision so that if we have somebody come to town that we're not familiar with, we have a way to track them, to do a background if necessary, which we currently do now for other types of licenses through the city.
Okay.
Jeff, I have a question. How do you see this actually getting enforced with people just, once we pass this, people want to set up a table at Art Walk, they don't know anything about this. So what's going to happen is the Art Walk collector will come around
Yes.
and say, by the way, there's a city ordinance, and you got to give us $40.
And they got to stop that musician playing on the corner too and collect $5.
Yeah.
So, basically that's it. We don't anticipate people come to City Hall. If they do, we just say pay the
Right.
collector that night.
Yes.
I think Art Walk recognizes that there's going to be an educational period
Right.
with this. Mostly people, I would say a high percentage of the vendors are coming through Art Walk already. But there will be cases where people will just set up and they'll be educated about what they can and can't do the next month, or I don't know how they're going to do it, give them a grace period potentially. And I'm sure Kiwanis,
Give us one of your
they
puppies
probably
instead of
know
$40 or something.
the people who have participated in the past, or maybe.
Well, the
maybe,
discussion there centered around the fact that Kiwanis uses Central Park and pays for all of the activities that go on in Central Park. It would be just the responsibility of the sidewalks in front of the businesses around the square that if Kiwanis was to do this, they would be responsible for that. Now, if Kiwanis was to ask, say, the Lions Club to go around and do that, and then allow the Lions Club to do that collection and get that benefit back to them, it would be their responsibility. So in a situation like that, Art Walk, if they felt that they weren't getting what they thought they should be getting, or didn't like what was going on with it, they could have someone else do it for them in order to collect those fees for their organization.
Right.
One thing, though, that we talked about at the committee level is that vendors are going to have to display this license, so-called license, after they have been issued it. So if I'm going over to a vendor's table, the first thing I want to be able to hand them is a copy of the city ordinance that says that you need to have this, and then explain to them that this is the form that we need filled out, and then you need to pay the fee to me. And then I have to have some sort of identification from the group that's putting on the special event in order to prove that I'm not just Darren going up and shaking you down for $40, you know. So, but there's going to be a lot of proper documentation that this person that's going to be asking for this fee, they're going to have with them. And if they don't have that with them, that's going to be a red flag for the person that's being asked this.
Yeah. I think we should be proactive, though. I think that from the city side, we should, obviously, Art Walk's been in discussion. We should contact the Live on the Square folks, the All Things Italian, all of the different
Car show,
car shows, everything that
Kiwanis
we can identify. So right.
Right.
And just make them aware that this is the policy, be proactive. And then also the downtown merchants. I know that the Art Walk had planned to speak with all the downtown merchants, but I think it would be great if we put together a letter that could go out to all of those organizations.
Merchants would be exempt from this. If you have a business that's on the square and you set up a table outside the front of your business because you want to sell your clearance items out there because of the people coming by.
But what happens is vendors walk into the retailers and think that they're the ones that'll give them permission.
Right. No.
So it'll help them to educate the
Yeah.
people who are looking for that.
Right.
So just so I understand, we're doing this so that we can have better tracking of the vendors that we have now?
No.
And
That's not why we're doing this. We're doing this mainly because the vendors, what's happening is there's several vendors, especially for Art Walk, that set up, get the advantage of all the publicity that the Art Walk group has done to bring the people downtown and, you know, make sales based on it. And then they pay nothing to anyone because they don't set up, they don't register with Art Walk to do it in the square. They'll do it out along on, you know, in front of a business. And so the idea is that this will be a way for the Art Walk or whatever group to get reimbursed for the work they did to bring the people there that these vendors are benefiting from.
That's also a way to know who's there. So
It's a combination of all those things,
from
right?
Des Moines or Illinois can't come over here and not, you know, be a criminal and
Right.
sell whatever. And
They had no enforcement authority before, so some people would pay and some people wouldn't, and that obviously was unfair, so then it became much more difficult for them to collect the fee. So we're doing that, and at the same time, making sure that we're following the same protocols that we follow currently for other types of licenses for people that come in from out of town. And then the justification for reimbursing the organization is because they're going to administer the process for the city, so then we'll reimburse them those fees. So it kind of brings everything full circle.
And it's a little bit of a creative way to just give them a little bit more support for an activity that we don't necessarily want to administer
Right.
here.
So I get that. I guess I'm
Yeah.
just thinking $40 for a smaller business that wants to do, you know, something every month. You know, that adds up to.
You got to make a lot of
You
sales
have-
to make $40 a profit.
Yeah. So I'm concerned that while I understand the full circle part, I think that, you know, you might.
I
might
also
lose a
look
little
at it.
bit as
I also
well.
look at it this way, though. My younger sister does face painting, summertime activity when she's not teaching school, and a fee of $40 in her terms to me that's cheap. You know, a lot of events. Say you go to Stone City to an art festival that they have up there. Their vendor fees for that are in the range of $125 to $175 to set up for the day. But in turn, she can paint faces to the tune of $500 or more for that day. So even though you're talking about a smaller window, you're not talking about the entire day of being art walk. You're talking about from 6 until 10. You still, proportionally, you're pretty much the same. I mean, $40
Well, I think it
is-
depends on what your business is.
Well,
You
yeah,
could- you could
that's
be,
that's
you
with
know,
all things. If
right.
if you don't succeed with that, then maybe next time you need to think about something other than what you were doing the last time.
I just
You
think it's a
adapt your
slightly
business to
different
it.
spin than Fairfield normally takes on events.
Well, currently the rate is 35.
I just,
So
For people that set up in the square.
for an
Should
art
be.
walk event is 35. I'm just saying she doesn't have any enforceability, but those that pay
There are
it,
people who pay it,
Yeah.
right.
More that pay it than
large
don't.
percentage pay it.
I had a comment on it that I had mentioned to you, Jeff, this point number 7. Well, first of all, we don't state in the ordinance itself what the fee is, right? Do we?
Yes,
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we do say it's $40.
and $5 for those
And
musicians.
$5 for musicians.
Or
So
10
why-
for-
Boy, you're really hung up on that, aren't you, Mayor?
Well, hoping to get out
You bringing your flute, are you?
Since we're stating what the
No.
fee is, why do we care if it's not-for-profit? I don't understand why we need the not-for-profit to file a tax exempt form if they're paying the same fee as everyone else.
It's the same argument we talked about before, because if it's local Fairfield, we wouldn't be concerned, but there's a lot of people that are being drawn here from other places, and we don't know that everyone's necessarily honest and straightforward. So we want to make sure if they're advertising and promoting that they're a non-for-profit, that they truly are. And this is a way to make sure, and it's really fairly simple.
so why are
in-
musicians $5 and not 40?
That fee came from Danya from the Art Walk, so I can't answer that question directly. I just
They
put
don't
in
make
what she's
it-
Yeah,
suggesting.
yeah, and I think they're probably, these aren't people who are busking. Yeah, I think these are people who are just playing. I don't know that they're selling
Wandering
anything.
minstrels.
Or are they selling CDs?
No.
Maybe they are. I don't know. Don't know what they had in mind. I just thought it
Mayor,
was
we had a comment from
kind
the
of funny.
secretary.
Yes, Judd, come on up to the microphone.
How far off of the square are you going to let this extend? Your exclusion is for the businesses that are on the street, on the square, from having to follow this, but are you going to end up at Farmers Market if you go as far as the convention center site? Are you going to end up with the citywide garage sale down south of the bank a couple times a year? Are those the kind of special events you envision too? Because you'll have 30, 40 people sometimes involved in permitting. In those situations, is there likely to be
Well, the intention, and it may not be clear in the ordinance, was to focus on the events that centralize at Central Park and expand out from there. But that may need a little tweaking so that we're clear that's what we're talking about. I don't think the intention was to reach out to farmers market or to those other types of activities. It was to make sure that we can find it to where if a vendor set up to take advantage of what Art Walk or what another special event brought in, that they had to pay the same fee as those, that we're setting up
My
there.
other question would be if you have a recurring special event like the market every weekend, would there be maybe a different format for a permit for that, if you go with that?
The farmer's market already has their
They
own
have
formula
something.
they collect $7 per vendor, I think. They have their own formula. But, so should we specify in here that it's not on the square? I mean, that it's,
Or
this is
that it
for
excludes the
event-
farmer's
Yeah.
market.
Maybe we should just say this excludes the farmer's market and with
Garage
the,
sale.
what is it, the garage, yeah. the-
Chamber of Commerce.
What's it called? The
Chamber of Commerce garage sale.
City- citywide garage
Citywide
sale.
garage sale. Probably be better to specify that.
Yeah, either exclude them or special.
I'd entertain a motion to approve the first reading with that friendly amendment.
So moved.
Moved by Hammes,
Second.
second by Hamilton. Any other discussion? Now, please call the roll.
Hammes,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Howley,
Yes.
Rivalinsky,
Yes.
Silvers,
Yes.
Boyer,
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Jeff, I know you had an item you wanted to mention in your administrative report.
I did, thanks. Two brief things. One, John held it up a second ago. Your budget booklets, those are for next year. We're in front of you tonight, so you should have that for reference. That's the approved budget that you just went through here a month or so ago with the support information. So just be aware that you do have that. And then Rustin Lippincott brought in the other day, I think this is the first ever annual financial audit for the convention center. So I didn't copy this for everyone because I know how John feels about the extra paper, but if you'd like to review it or if you'd like a copy, let me know and I'll see that you get it. It's really fairly thin compared to the city, so it's only 6 or 7 pages, but just be aware that they have completed their annual financial audit of their situation, so that's a good thing.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. Next, Council, I just wanted to ask for your approval on just a couple of board appointments. One, we had 2 openings on the Ffcc board to replace Jason Kurth and Joe Gowdy. I'd like to propose Francesca Horline and Samantha Cousins, who were recommended by the chairman, Dick DeAngelis, to serve a 3-year term in place of Jason Kurth and Joe Gowdy.
Move to approve.
Moved by Hallie,
Second.
second by Boyer. Any discussion? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same sign. Thank you. Next, I'd like to add one other person to our facilities, recreation facilities task force, Tom McMahon. Is willing to join that group. I think he'd be a great addition. So I'd entertain motion to approve Tom McMahon for that.
So moved.
Moved by Boyer,
Second.
second by Revelinsky. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same sign. Thanks. We did see that a little over a week ago, we did learn from the Blue Zone group that Fairfield has been selected as one of the small cities that will receive a site visit. We haven't received any specific timing. We think they're probably a little behind some of their site visits that they were doing in the 11 large cities that made the cut. We anticipate it'll be sometime in May or possibly June before we see them. And again, congratulations to everyone who put the city in a position to be a finalist. And now when we do have that site visit, we'll have to put on a good show and look forward to doing that because we do have a lot to show them. Let's see, and that is everything I have for this evening. To move on to our committee reports, if we could have a personnel committee report on our progress in hiring city administrator. Darren?
You got a proclamation there?
Your proclamation.
You know what, the proclamation was not in our packet. I believe that was for the
Telecommunications.
okay.
You got it, yeah.
All right. There it is. I'm sorry. Okay, get my copy here. So I ask your approval then to proclaim National Telecommunicators Week, April 8th through 14th. Again, this is in honor of those people who work in our law center and dispatch the most important calls that we receive that save lives and help out all of our community services, our police, fire, and sheriff's departments. So entertain a motion to approve the proclamation declaring April 8th through 14th, National Telecommunicators Week. Moved by Hammes.
Second.
Second by Silvers. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same sign. Thank you. Now we'll move on to our committee reports. Darren?
Okay, the Personnel Committee has met a few times already. We haven't met recently. We're still in the process of taking applications through City Hall here for the city administrator's position. I've been told that we have 48 applicants in total so far from 26 different states. Coming up on the 16th, we are planning on doing phone interviews after the list of 48 applicants has been pared down some. And on the 28th of April, we're hoping to do final interviews for that position and have the list from 48 down to between 3 and 5 applicants that the city council will interview as a whole. So
Great. Thanks,
that's
Darren.
kind of where we're at with that.
We're also, I think, the 10th, or rather the 11th. 11th is going to be our cutoff date for those applications. We will be putting together a list of 10 finalists at that time. That's been an evolving list. We're basically grading on certain qualifications that we're looking for from the applications themselves. And then those 10 will be interviewed on the 16th, and then on the 28th we will have 5 finalists is what we are planning for right now. They will be here on the 27th. They will meet with department heads and get tours of the city, and then on the 28th we will do our interview process. So we're very happy with the response. We think we have some very viable candidates. As much as the person in the position right now we'd love to see stay, we are happy that we have some viable candidates to replace. And then we'll have a final report, Darren, on the, you mentioned that you wanted to
I wanted
update
to give an update on some of the activities out at the wastewater treatment plant. They're on schedule out there for switching all of the electrical at the plant over to the new system. The electric generation backup generators have been installed. They're finishing up some wiring on some systems out there, and hopefully on the 17th they'll be able to flip the switch and convert the system over to having the backup generation integrated out there.
Great.
So things seem to be moving right along on track. The sludge treatment or sludge storage tank is still moving ahead. They're working on the inner workings inside the tank at this point in time, and there's been some great changes out there. It'd be nice if I could get Lacey to come out with me one day and look at things. Or Jeff. He could do it. So that's all I have on that.
All right, thanks, Darren. That is good progress. Those are 2 major projects that were expected and highly anticipated, so we're glad to hear about the progress of those.
One final thing. The bids that we opened or awarded tonight, the overall total on the water and sewer improvements came in about $93,000 under budget, which is going to allow us to do some other things that we hadn't anticipated on doing at this point in time, and I think we've already figured out where that money is going to go and how it's going to be used in our water and wastewater system.
Great. Thanks, Darren. If there is no other business before the council, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Boyer. Second by Silvers. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.